Hey Google, it's time to record. Turn the lights on.
Got it. Turning the fuck it all motherfucker on.
You are deliberately forgetting who you really are. You are deliberately forgetting who you really are.
What's going on, boys? What's happening, Tony?
Chilling, man. Same thing, different day, you know? Been working, chilling, hanging out. Can't do a whole lot still, you know, but making the best of it. At the holidays, Christmas, that was kind of cool.
About you, Paul? What's happening?
Hanging in there, man. Yeah, I'm not having to dodge any volcanoes or anything, but you know.
Oh, we don't see any of that out here either, man. It's there's definitely the wind's blowing in like fog, you know, so it starts kind of messing with your eyes a little bit, and people are getting a little sniffly. It's funny with all this COVID shit going on because people are like sniffling and like red-eyed and shit like that, but it's really just the fog and the allergies and shit. But anytime you see somebody sneeze or cough or sniffle, you're like, back the fuck up, man. Back the fuck up. I'm gonna spray you with this alcohol bottle.
It's Shaun of the Dead.
So what's going on? There's a volcano erupting? Or the volcano is erupting again?
I believe, honestly, I haven't looked a whole lot into it. From my understanding, the volcano on Big Island, which is always kind of active and erupting, it's just kind of switched courses again a little bit. I believe back to the main spout of the volcano, which I believe last year, the year before, kind of collapsed in on itself and created some other fissures that had lava come up in different areas of the island. But I believe that the main part of it is now exposed again and spewing lava again. And anytime that happens, you do get like a lot of volcanic ash in the air and stuff like that. It's not like you look out and you see smoke everywhere, but it's in the air and it definitely messes with you. You wake up in the morning, your eyes are kind of goopy and funky, and it's just all the shit in the air, you know?
How weird.
It showed pictures, I thought on YouTube, where it showed like people from a boat, like looking out or something. They were filming it or something. Were they doing that at the time that it...
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure there was somebody with a camera on it when it happened. People are always up there videotaping and filming, and they actually do like boat tours too. You know, so with the boats, they'll actually go out in the water where you can see the volcano or the lava come down and hit the water if it's currently happening.
What do you do if like you have a huge volcano and everybody has to get off of there? What's the escape plan?
I bet there isn't one, my dude. I mean, you get a tsunami warning.
Just
and
swim.
like, oh,
I mean, just start.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, what do? You can't really, even out in the ocean, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's much you can do. I believe it is kind of one side of the island that's really more inhabited with the volcanic. The areas, they have like different areas of the different zones. It's like what kind of zone you live in is the more active area. I think that goes along with like home buying and insurance and all that shit too. But if you're on like the north end of the island, I believe you're in a much safer spot than if you're on the south end of the island, which is where the volcano is a lot more active. Volcano National Park's down there, stuff like that.
Tony's just running.
I know, right? I'll tell you what, we had that fake bomb threat last year where they came out and said there was a nuclear fucking bomb coming from South Korea. Dude, there was no plan. There was no plan. Nobody had anything to do. People were dropping their kids in the sewers and shit. I mean, literally, they were dropping their kids in the sewers and shit because they didn't know what to do. There's no fallout plan per se for nuclear fallout. It's just like hold your loved ones and hang on, you know.
Wow, man.
I slept through that shit.
What do we
I woke
drinking?
up hours later with a bunch of messages and everybody like, are you okay, what's happening, and like end of the world shit on my phone. I'm like, damn, dude, I guess I would have gone out peacefully.
Would have never known it was coming.
Nah, man, just me and the dogs were hanging out in bed.
That's funny, man.
I got to refill my cup here, so what are we drinking? Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, I'm shooting some some Kirkland version of Jameson, and having a Red Bull vodka.
I'm still working on that bottle of 1800, man. 1800 in PBR.
I got one of these
Voodoo Rangers or whatever. Voodoo Rangers.
Yeah, very Imperial IPA. You know who I stole this from is Jessica, my wife.
She likes those.
Dude, that's what's crazy is she, out of every beer, if I run by somewhere, she would have this over anything else.
Huh.
Over a Coors Light or something wussy or something. You know, this is what she likes. She likes that strong, bitter,
the big IPA
flavor,
taste.
that IPA flavor. The problem with these things is they're like 9% alcohol.
Well, at least she's
so after
not
one of these big ones, you know.
At least she's not a little bitch like you are. She can handle it.
So I stole it. She's gonna be mad when she goes and opens the refrigerator door and I've taken this out. She doesn't know I have it.
She's like, that was my 9%. Damn you! I gotta take care of these damn boys.
I know.
Gotta take care of the boys sober. I hate taking.
You
care
want
of
to
the
do a
kids
little?
sober.
What do you? So Tony, what'd you have? You had your little your Lolo and header shot glass, but
it's just my 1800, man.
Oh,
I got a
1800
bottle of 1800 weeks
still
ago, and that'll
yeah.
probably last me for
Yeah.
the next 4 months because
I
I only
know.
drink with you guys.
That
One
tequila.
shot of-
Especially
one
that
shot every
tequila.
month or so.
All right, well,
All right.
cheers. Here we go
Cheers,
to
boys.
the new
Let's
year.
get it going.
Here we go. Probably won't chat. Are we going to chat again before the new year? Probably not. So to
Yeah, probably
2021.
hope
2021.
it to
Hopefully
be,
it's better than this year.
A little more growth this coming year, hopefully, right?
I didn't like that. That's that Kirkland. And do you just drink it just straight out of the, like, is it cooled or anything? You chill it or anything? Is it just straight out of the, oh, dude, it's probably gross because that's when you can tell the difference between the good stuff. You know, is when
I'm
you're
good
just
now.
drinking it warm. That's gross.
That's how I like it, baby.
The face you're making makes me want to throw up, man.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought it was happening, but
Yeah.
ugh.
So yeah, speaking of that and having drinks and what Jess will need to drink is we got I was in there earlier. I've been spending about 2.5 hours before this podcast trying to put together a Boba Fett Slave One Star Wars Lego set. I think it's like 1,200 pieces. It's crazy. It's not like a little tiny one. I mean, intricate stuff that's moving inside. So I've been out
you
there
gotta
putting
do
that
it?
together.
The boys don't do
No,
it?
well, the boys got it, but I mean, this is just way beyond, you know,
They're-
way beyond, you know, a 6-year-old's level of plugging these pieces in, you know.
Paul's like,
what do
back
you
the fuck up. Let me do this right.
I just want to
no,
get
that's-
it done. And it's funny, dude. I've been such a stickler because he wants to play with it as I'm making it. So it's now to the form, dude. I think I have one more bag left. Jess will probably will finish it off when I'm doing this, and that's why I said she'll probably be missing her beer. She'll want it when she's doing her Lego set. But we're almost done with it. We have one more bag, Tony, and like, dude, he keeps picking it up and he wants to fly. I don't know if you remember the Slave One Boba Fett. He lays down upside down almost because when the ship takes off, it rotates at like a 90-degree angle. Is how it flies. And it's really cool. He rotates, his cockpit rotates the right way up, you know, when you tip it. And Liam, he keeps trying to grab the handle and play with it. And I'm like, listen, let me just build it one time before it crashes to the ground and busts into. I just want to finish it once, right, Header? Like, don't you want to just get through the last bag? I think
I
that's
know
my.
this is your toy, but fuck off for a second.
I
You
just,
can have
I
it
think
later.
I think it's partly my like. You know, my ADD, OCD, whatever, you know, where I'm like, at least let's get it constructed once. And let me take a picture of it, right? At least, you know. And then you can go out and fly it. And I know he's going to fly it. It's something's going to come off. And, dude, that thing's going to hit the ground. And you know what they look like when they hit the ground. You know.
So I guess that's my question, Paul, is do they like it as much when the pieces do break off and they don't have the thing built anymore and they can just
Dude.
use the parts for stuff? Like, is it still fun for them?
I am not joking, but when a Lego hits the ground, you hear the noise, right? The whole house just gets quiet. It's like a car accident, right? Because you know that wasn't a good sound, right? And then you just hear Liam's gotten into this thing where he covers his ears and he just goes, no, 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 no. And he just says no over and over and over. And, you know, like it's going to make it come back together, right? If he says it 30,000 times. And he just runs, like, away from the scene. Almost like a crash,
Just
you
can't
know?
handle it.
And so,
How
oh,
funny,
dude.
man.
So anyway, yeah, I've been doing that for the last 2.5 hours. So that's been that was my
That's
lead up to
funny.
why Jessica's going to be mad when the beer's gone.
How funny, man.
As
Well, I
somebody's
bet
been skateboarding and playing the piano. However, we to go into that thing. Sorry,
Yeah, I
for
don't know how we're
derailing.
going to get into that.
Sorry for
no,
derailing.
Paul, obviously you played drums for a long time and stuff like that, and that's
Yeah.
obviously something that is, I don't know, I think like, you know, as a person, you guys both have that as a talent. You know, like you said, Paul, you were able to kind of play for the church and stuff like that growing up and play drums. You were in different bands. Tony did a bunch of different stuff with it and just kind of mostly messed around. But the question is like, is there anything else that you wish you would have gotten into at a young age where by now you would be kind of good at. You know what I mean? Where if only you, I don't know, I guess it's the whole, like, if you could go back and talk to your younger self and be like, hey, listen here, asshole, you're going to look like a pussy right now playing piano, but later on, when you can sit down at that piano in the middle of Nordstrom's and start, like, busting out, like, a sexy-sounding song or something, you're going to be the fucking man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Is there been something that, like, you, I mean, I don't know. You have a lot of talents, Paul. It's kind of tough. Tony has a bunch of talents. He flew helicopters and stuff. But I guess mine would probably be like, I would want to do like silly stuff, like be able to play the piano. I think would be like an awesome talent. That
I don't think that's silly.
Not necessarily silly, but just actually, like.
I see what you're saying.
How is it any more sillier than the drums? I guess it's an instrument, right? It's kind of the same thing. Like, instead of hitting something, the piano seems more smart to me.
The wish or
I'm
the
saying,
walk
like, even just for, like, for fun, though.
It.
Like, not even to make money with it or anything like that. Just to have it as a talent. I guess the next thing would be, like, to be able to jump on a skateboard and be able to cruise through, like, a city area and, like, do simple stuff like feel confident enough to skateboard across the street and, like, ollie up on a curb. Like, there's something that simple that when I see people do that, I'm like, oh, that guy is fucking
I'm
cool,
sure you had
man.
something like that, though, that you were good at. Maybe not anymore, and as you get older, it's harder to do that shit, but...
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff, but it wasn't playing the piano or skateboarding, which is what I wanted to do.
So those are two things you wish you had learned.
Yeah. I wish I would have been like, stop being an idiot and just put some time into it and get good at it, you know. Obviously, I'm a big boy, so I can't really skateboard. But I guess piano, I could be Meatloaf.
That's kind of it's funny you say that because remember that's kind of what Tony. That's like Keith got mad at me. That's one time I said that to him. I'm like, listen, man, if this isn't going to be a political podcast, right, and then we don't need to argue back and forth. You know, it was just becoming that arguing. You know, right. Where people were getting mad at each other. You know, and that's what I told him. I said if we took all the time that we were arguing and we put it into something, like you were saying, Head, remember I would say, like, you know, play the piano. Like I said, learn to speak another language. Do something more interesting than just if your whole life is just arguing with people. You know what I mean? Like, that drives me insane because you're right. Like, what do they say? Like, you have to have 10,000 hours of something to be a professional or something. Is that what they say?
To be a master.
Were you?
To be a master.
Yeah, to be a master at something, you know?
Hours,
and that's what I'm saying, dude. I guarantee you, you know, Keith has argued 10,000 hours. I guarantee you. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by, like, you know,
a master.
Put it towards something, you know, like you said. But he does like doing that, and he said, "Hey, I like doing that. That's what I use as my thing." But I don't know, man. I agree with you, Ed, where you sit around, and you look back and say, "If I really would have done this or take that time," but I don't know, man. Even with drums, I think we talked about this already. Yeah, I don't regret anything.
Regardless of what you're good at, there's something else you're going to look at and be like, I do that. You know,
I guess, yeah, we kind of talked about this. I think even Tony talked about it a little bit when we talked about playing drums. I don't regret anything, like stopping when I stopped, really, ever. You know, that's one of the.
You can always look back and say you wish you went further with it. But going on like Hedrick's thing, like Paul's video stuff, and I think that shit's awesome. And I can even look at that and be like, damn, I wish I learned how to do some more of that. And even like the editing of all this type of stuff. I have no idea. And that's why when you're like, hey, you want to help with this? I'm like, the fuck I do? I don't know what I'm doing. But like, I envy that type of stuff, you know, but it doesn't hit me too hard. I'm not like, damn, man, I need to be Paul. but it's cool. You know what I mean? It's cool.
But dude, there's always as Tony takes that picture of that little tiny, what is that little tiny thing that when you take the beach walk?
I don't know. I thought you were about to talk about my dick pic.
No, not the dick pic. But what's the little tiny blowhole? The little tiny blowhole. Tony has this little tiny blowhole
and all of the land.
He's in love with this blowhole, and this little blowhole comes up, and he takes a picture of it and sends it to me. And dude, I wish I was Tony. So what I'm saying is, there's always I wish I was a. Do you see what I mean?
Right.
Like,
there's always a blowhole.
Exactly.
Like, I wish I could have been there at that moment with a nice camera, or like you said, bring the drone out, or what, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, God damn it, you know? And so what I'm saying is there's always that head, you know? But there's
Still
time
can
to
after
start it,
COVID.
right? Like tomorrow could be your first day where you start taking some piano lessons. What would be so wrong
Oh
with that?
man, that would be so miserable.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
You just want to have the talent. You don't want to learn it.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
problem.
Tony, I think he's lying because when he gets into something like those cubes or whatever, right, whatever it is,
Oh, he gets
Yeah,
into
if I'm
it.
If
going to
he got
practice
into
anything,
it-
I'm going to practice my cubes.
dude, he says that now, Tony, but he'd be there like with the book all open and he'd have it
Well,
all
that's the
set.
thing,
You know,
too. Seeing how good he is with those damn cubes, I can't figure out the
Yeah.
first one I still have. He had to send me a four-sided cube for me to finally fucking figure it out. He's doing these things in like 6 seconds. Put a piano in front of you and do the same thing, head. I do bet that within 6 months he'd be sitting there playing some Beethoven shit. Like, check this out, check this out. Hell yeah, drunk as fuck playing Beethoven.
there's no one by one. There's no one by one. I could probably do a one by one. Is there one little thing by one?
I had to totally
Yeah.
watch a YouTube video
Yeah.
for the 4x4.
Man, I need another beverage already. I'm sorry, boys. Chat amongst yourself. Talk about the dick pic. I want to come back. Paul,
Talk about the
were you
dick pic.
surprised when you woke up and saw a big old picture of my big old dick and balls?
You know what, man? I did. We'll talk about it when you get back. But I don't know, Tony. I was shocked. Like I scrolled through
With the
and
size
like I
of my
saw.
balls?
So I'll start off with it as you go get your drink. I'll tell a little story. So like we do this podcast, and all three of us, at least me, I mean, I'm just on a whole different time schedule as my brother.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
always
yeah.
been that growing up. You know what I'm saying? And I guess what I'm saying is when I get up in the morning, I'll have 50 texts sometimes from him. Tony, I'm on like 2 or 3 different threads with him, not just you guys, right?
Right, same, yeah.
And so when I get up in the morning, I'll have like 50 texts. And dude, when I woke up and I blast through them, sometimes I'm just reading them as I go. And if I hit a picture, I'll kind of fling it, to go to the next thing if I see where you guys are ranting about something. When I came to that, I was just like shocked. Like I almost dropped the phone out of my hand when I came to that picture. And I literally immediately just went towards the top of the thing to try to not look at it as fast as I could.
I had the opposite reaction. I was not
what were
shocked
you doing?
whatsoever, and I saved that shit as his fucking picture that pops up when he calls. And I was sitting there with my girlfriend, and she fucking loved it too.
See, but the problem with it is you, once again, just like the schedule, Tony, I'm on a completely. I've got a
Right.
6-year-old standing next to me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Uncle
And that
Hedrick.
wants to know like what I'm doing on my phone at every moment. You know what I'm saying? Because they think they're missing out.
Am I
And
in
I'm like,
trouble?
you're not missing out on this. You're not missing anything out on this one.
I'm in trouble, aren't I?
So
Oh, it's so funny.
I just mean from that standpoint, I was shocked. You know what I mean? I would have never put my face in it, probably. You know.
I've definitely shown it to multiple people. Multiple people.
You know, that's what I mean. See, I would have
Beach at
probably then
Christmas
you
the
could have
other
just
day.
denied it later on. You know,
Oh, no, yeah, there's no denying it. I had like 10 people sitting underneath the canopy on Christmas Day when it was raining, and we were all just passing. I was looking at my buddy Hedrick. Everybody's seen his dick at this point.
you're just not used to seeing it first thing in the morning. At least I'm not.
Man,
Dude, speaking of Christmas Day at the beach, I fucking got bit by a dog the other day. My
What?
hand fucking
What?
got mauled by a pit bull. Yeah,
What?
we were
Wait,
down there
what?
hanging out at the beach at Christmas. It ended up not being a huge deal, but we're sitting down there hanging out, drinking. Had a couple dogs out there. They were playing. Well, my boy Shy Boy and this pitty ended up kind of getting into it, and this pitty just grabbed my dog by the head and started pinning him in the water. So I
Wow.
run down there, toss my beer to the side, grab the pitty's head, kind of pull it apart. All was good. Pitty turned, fucking grabbed my hand. Big old puncture hole in my hand. Like, some shit, man. Yeah, that was crazy.
Did you know the person who
They were friends of ours. The dude's super cool.
Yeah.
The dog was super cool. It's just one of those moments where we were letting them play a little too much. You know,
Yeah.
there was balls
They're getting
involved,
into it,
sticks
cutting up.
involved, food involved, so they start getting into it, a little dominant over each other. You know, luckily, really nobody got seriously hurt in the end of it. It looked scary for a moment, and my hand was bleeding pretty good for a moment, but nobody really got hurt. So, I would say the worst thing about it all was Shy Boy's pride was super hurt. You can tell it was like he totally got his ass kicked and was like sitting back behind a tent all sad. And then this other stray dog comes running up out of nowhere and starts fucking humping him. It's like a little dog. So he just like got his ass kicked and then he's sitting there getting fucking raped by this little tiny dog.
How funny.
Tony, have you seen the YouTube video of the guy that rescues the dog from the alligator's mouth? That's exactly what I'm picturing of you. Like, literally, this alligator grabs this dog.
That's kind of how it felt.
And this guy gets down inside this lake and opens up that alligator's mouth.
Yes, I might have not done that.
Well, that's what I
was
can
super
picture.
scary to me. But this pity was, this thing was a fucking rock solid little pit bull. You know, it definitely could have done more damage if it wanted to. You know, it wasn't a mean dog. It just got hyped up in the situation, and that was it. It was fine after that. But
Tony, they say just to stick your finger in their buttholes.
I've heard that too. I didn't stick my finger in its butthole. I grabbed its top mouth and back mouth. I didn't even think of that.
You should have done it, and then you should have stuck your finger in the dog's butthole, made it release your dog, and then run over to your buddy whose dog it was and stick your finger in his mouth.
His mouth.
I was just going to say probably...
get your fucking dog away from me.
I would say that's probably pretty good advice if you're being attacked by anybody. If you just stick your finger in someone's butthole, you're probably going to be okay, That's probably good advice. I never thought about that. Especially for a dog. I guess a dog's a little more just exposed, so yeah.
Speaking of beaches and buttholes, have you ever taken your dog to the beach multiple times or hours at a time and let them run around and ingest a bunch of sand as they're falling into it? You ever seen
No,
a dog
Tony,
take a
I don't.
full
I don't
poop
live on
made
a
of
beach like
sand?
you and get to take beautiful pictures all the time.
Maybe you have a sandbox at home. I don't know.
Tony, even the dog beaches out here, it sucks to take your dog to because there's just so many people.
Right.
And they're all just sitting there on their fucking phones, and it's a whole beach. You know what I mean? And the dogs are running around, and like you said, humping and fucking each other and dominating everybody.
What do you mean? And like the
dominating
people
next
don't
dog.
even know what's going on? They're just on their phones. They don't. They're just letting their dogs just run.
yeah,
They're not even watching them.
Of course, that's
Yeah,
why
that's
they're
kinda
there.
dark.
Is because they can
that's
take
annoying.
their dog there and sit on their phone.
Yeah, but that's annoying. But
yeah.
you got to kind of watch your dog. You got to watch what your dog's
Well, that's
doing.
always. You go to a beach
know.
with a bunch of
responsible
people.
person,
Dogs on
yes,
a leash
would
are
think
being
that.
watched if it's good.
Yeah.
That's why I go early morning, man. Even on like Christmas, there really was not a whole lot of people out there. Dogs get to run, they get to bury themselves, they dig in it, stuff like that. But then what you get the next day is literally solid turds of sand. Literally, little sand turds all over the yard.
So
You go
they-
to pick them up, and they just kind of like fall apart in your hand.
Squish into sand. It's like
It's
playing
like
with the
sand,
sand.
dude,
It's
yeah.
like playing with the sand putty or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how good or bad that is for them. Maybe it's helping exfoliate their fucking stomach lining. I don't know.
I bet
But-
the inventor of that sand putty was somebody that lived by a beach that had a dog.
Right.
He's like, man, I could just make something like this, and it'd be all like squishy, and you could play with it and rub it around. Magic sand, man, magic sand.
I'm sure there's some kind of activists out there going like, dude, don't let your dog eat sand. Like, you can't let it eat sand. Like, you are a bad dog owner.
Man, there's only so much you can do. If a dog's gonna eat sand, it's gonna eat sand. If you go out to the beach, it's like,
Well, here, I'll piss people off even more. Anybody, the two people that are listening, like, let's talk about animal rights. How about you fucking hunting down a rat in the streets of San Diego the other day with a BB gun?
Did you guys watch that video?
Yeah, I watched the video and I was
Man, I
terrified.
sent you guys good. I sent you guys good stuff these weeks. I sent you dick pics. I sent you murdering rat videos.
Oh, dude, that was
Oh,
so bad.
man.
It was so bad, man. Your
I
buddy
saw
with the BB
I saw a
gun.
bunch of grown people that were scared of a little rat. Is what it looked like, on it, right, Tony? Isn't that what it looked like?
I feel like they were almost like. I think that Hedrick seemed a little scared of the rat, but the guy with the BB
Yeah.
gun did not seem scared of the rat.
Well, of course, the
And
guy
he-
with the gun isn't going to be. But wasn't
definitely did
one
not
guy trying to like
feel
hit it with a
bad for the rat.
broom? Some guy was trying to hit it with a broom or something at one
Yeah.
point before they even. This poor rat was trying to lit on fire. It was like literally every death it could possibly.
Well, and Hedrick's laughing throughout the whole
I know.
video, and then this fucking rat finally gets tagged, and you can see like the guy's taking his time going in for the second shot, and you can like hear the remorse coming over Hedrick. How about another one? How about another shot? Huh? Come
Yeah.
on now, let's go ahead and get him another shot.
He was.
Tony, was he,
he
not
like
taking his time pumping that fucking BB gun or that
Oh, my
pellet gun?
God, man, I'm
I
like,
figured I
shoot
could
him
pump it
again.
faster. Yeah.
Or
like,
I
let's
guess
do it,
at
let's
that
take
point
care
wasn't
of
the
it.
rat Tony? Wasn't the rat like literally running down the stairs out at the front by the street? Why not just let it go
Let
at
it
that
go.
point? It's already at the street.
He tags
It's
all the
at
way on the
street
front,
level.
right on the light post.
But
It's
Paul,
at street
Paul,
level.
They just recently put out poison around the complex
Okay.
for the outside rats. So this
Okay.
thing was messed up. You know what I mean? It wasn't doing good. It was on our
Listen,
porch.
I don't think you and that dude
sat
did
on
it
our
any
porch
good.
in the middle of the day
Four
for an
times in the
hour.
head over a 3-minute period and watching it flop around in the front street.
That's what I mean.
Dude,
I don't
the
think they
neighbors
helped
walk
it.
by in
I don't think
fear.
you're helping that kind of creature.
I
at that
wanted to
point.
get it out of its misery, but first
All
and
right.
foremost, I wanted it off my porch. I did not want it on my porch, so I scared it, but it just ran right off
Yeah,
the porch
that's
and
all
just
that
landed on
keeps
the
it off the
concrete
porch.
down below. And then it just sat there for like 20, 30 minutes until the guy came and hit it with the broom, and then it ran out. And we're like, okay, it's done. It is done. We're over this. Lolo and I could go to take the trash out or go to leave, and we walk by the little staircase, and we're like, oh, man, I wonder where that rat went. And we look over there, and it's perched up on our staircase looking at people. And there's people walking their dogs, and it's perched up looking at them. And they don't even notice it. And I'm like, oh, my God, there's that huge rat. And it's just like staring at those strangers, and they don't even notice it. But, yeah, that's when I hollered for my neighbor. I was like, bring your BB gun. He's out here, you know.
That
the
dude
guy
was so
comes
white
out.
trash, man.
Dude, by the time that third shot went into that rat, those neighbors started coming out. I think the one person was worried about their car that was by the area, and they see the guy with the BB gun shooting into the garage door. You know what I
And
mean?
you
Their car's right
videotaping
there, and
him
they're like,
yelling,
a
laughing?
BB's probably going to ricochet and hit my fucking car. So the guy's coming out. He's like, let me move my car for you real quick. And the other neighbors are walking by, just taking a nice little stroll. And my weird, my crazy neighbor, he's had a couple strokes. He like tried to shave his head, and there's like patches of hair, so he like looks kind of crazy, you know. I didn't know if I should bring it up and be like, "Hey, man, let me fix you up and line you up in the back," or just like not mention it. You know what I mean? So I decided not to mention it.
He's good.
Yeah, I decided not to mention it and just leave it be and let him look crazy. But it made him look even cooler when the neighbors were outside and he was walking around with a gun in his hand. We have a dead rat with rat blood squirted all over our garage and stuff. It was awesome.
Tony, this guy, I guarantee you. So imagine this: he has this BB gun mounted above his door. You know what I'm saying? You know those people that put guns up like above their doors? He's probably like waiting to use this BB gun, right? And so he's just waiting for Head to call out, right? Get your BB gun. He hears it, right? Grabs it off the wall, pumps it up. So that's what I mean. I could just picture this dude. He's been waiting to use this BB gun, you know.
The funny part about that,
What's
dude,
Tony
is-
taking a selfie? Oh, there he goes. Oh, there it is.
BB gun
That's what I mean.
mounted.
See what I mean? And he was just waiting
I literally got
for
the same
someone
BB
to
gun
yell
mounted
out.
above my desk.
That's what I'm saying. He needed someone. That's what I'm saying. You're waiting for someone. If your neighbor said, Tony, get out here. Get out here. There's a big rat. You would pull that thing off the wall. You'd be out there. You've been waiting
I don't
to
think
shoot
I'd
it.
shoot the rat, man. I love
No,
animals. I
no.
would probably shoot a fucking
know.
crackhead, but
That's why I think, Header, he tries to be this tough guy and stuff, but you're right, like deep down inside, he's really
oh, you
a
can
softie.
hear it in his voice at the
He's
end
a
of it.
softie.
Come on, what's the guy's
yeah.
name? John? Was it John? Come on, John. Another shot. Come on, buddy. Why don't we go ahead and give
Brian.
him another
Come
shot?
on,
Like,
Brian.
he's
Come on, Brian.
flopping
Let's
around.
get him, Brian.
That's what
Get
it
him
was.
another
Come
shot,
on,
Brian.
He's
Come on,
ready for it,
Brian.
buddy. Like he's holding still there for you.
Come on, Brian. He's fucking shivering.
Brian's slowly
Fucking...
pumping this thing. Just, yeah, look at him flopping
Yeah.
around.
How many more pumps do you need to do? You need to do 40 pumps for the fucking
For a
2-inch
tiny little
range rat kill to the brain.
So funny,
You know,
man. Yeah, that video was
maybe-
fucking horrible.
Yeah, that was great.
Maybe
That's
less
super funny.
pumping so the BB would just get stuck right in the brain or something. Like, you're just blasting right through.
Needless to say, I definitely showed your dick pic to at least like 4 dozen people, but that video I showed to Tots only. I was like, I don't want people to hate Hedrick.
Yeah.
They'll accept his little dick, but they're not going to accept him fucking torturing rats.
They can
in
look
the
at his
front
little
yard.
dick,
Yeah.
but they ain't going to see him murdering a rat.
Oh, so good, man. Oh.
Too good, too good.
Header,
So,
you did anybody get anything for Christmas?
Oh, man.
Headley.
I got big bags of nerds, man. Oh, man, you know how I feel about nerds. They're so good. These are like the giant First of all, they're the giant bags. You know what I mean? My wife, she knows I'm overweight, obviously. She has to put up with me every day. She buys me the 2 big bags of the oversized, large, chewy Nerds. And I love them so much, man. They're just so good. I can just take them down. She got me a bag of regular and a bag of sour. I don't even care what bag I'm eating. They're all just so good. My
Liam,
poor teeth. My
your
poor
teeth?
Oh, my goodness, man. If I eat
yeah.
like more than 5 of those things in a day, I can, like, my teeth are, like, ringing at the end of the night, like a telephone. Just pulsating. I have to go brush my teeth and stuff. Oh, man, it's so bad. And it's like my teeth are already, like, terrible, of course. I already go down to Mexico and Tecate and get my dentistry done because I'm so poor. But, yeah, man, they're so good, but I just cannot not eat them. I can't stay away from them. I have no sense.
That's fun. Yeah, do you eat that, Tony?
Same shit with me, because I got a sweet tooth and a half. Head knows that. I've fallen asleep at his place straight drooling with fucking sweet tarts in my mouth, watching sci-fi channels and shit.
So you like the tarty stuff? You like that sour and tart stuff?
I like
anything,
most sweet stuff.
chocolate,
Yeah.
everything.
Tony likes like
everything.
chewy sprees. He likes
yeah.
chewy
Ooh,
sweet tarts.
chewy
I got a sweet
the
tooth
big
and a
ones.
half. The only thing that keeps me from eating that shit on the regular, honestly, is my teeth. Like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I guess my teeth and my butthole, because you eat a lot of that shit and it does not come out nice.
Yeah.
It's not so sweet.
Yeah.
That's funny
It's
you
weird
said
as you
that,
get
though,
old.
about the Nerds, though, because that Liam, in his stocking, he got a huge box of Nerds. And it was like a
Yes.
rainbow one. Now, what's funny about Nerds is they still haven't perfected the little eating hole.
No,
like
not
it
at
gets
Oh,
all.
that's
wet.
the best.
They still haven't figured it out yet, right?
I don't
Because
even
I
try to
remember
fuck
it
with
was
that
bad
anymore.
when we were kids, right?
It's the same
Remember you
box.
used to get it all wet and
Yeah, it's the same
Right,
exact
you
box.
would
It
try
has
to
a-
like shake it in your mouth, yeah, and you'd like slobber all over it, and then
And
it'd get
so-
all soggy.
And so, like, Liam was like, well, what are these? You know, he thought those were like little boogers. He had never seen Nerds before. I don't think he had ever had them before. And so here I am. I'm trying to open them right, and then I'm like, and they just, everywhere. Like I said, the little hole still isn't right. Something is wrong with it, and they go everywhere. And he's picking them up, eating them just one off. But yeah, he
Dog
even
hair
was saying
on 'em
like,
and stuff.
he was saying like, Dad, these are crunchy. Like even like you said, he could tell. With
got
his little
he got
good
his little
teeth,
ringing,
Probably
yeah.
not supposed to be eating this,
I like that you called them little colored boogers. I never heard a name called that. That's great. I can see a little kid looking at that like, what the fuck are you trying to get me to eat?
But I think even when he was eating them, like you said, even with his little young teeth, even as much as he enjoyed them, I think he even knew they were probably not good for his teeth. He was,
Yeah.
oh, Dad, these are
He was
hard,"
already feeling the repercussions. But that's, I guess is what
yeah.
I'm saying is like you
Yeah.
can, with those, you eat them and you're like, oh, these are going to hurt my teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what they're talking about that you shouldn't eat,
And then the whole box
And then
is gone. That's the
And then
by
I
the
eat
time
whole
you
bag
reason with
before
yourself.
bed and
Yeah.
go to bed without brushing my teeth. Yes, exactly.
The whole box is completely gone. You're still reasoning with yourself. Yeah,
But
exactly.
Paul, literally, I mean, I guess the whole thing is literally I have no self-control. And I think honestly, it boils down to my whole life.
You think?
It's like
You think?
what do you mean?
Says
You
would
think? You're being sarcastic, right? You're
No,
being
I mean, I
facetious.
guess what I'm saying
I'm
is
saying,
I didn't
like-
even mean it. I didn't even mean it like that. I meant it more like you say
But
that,
no,
but then
I
like Tony
agree.
Hill. No, listen. You
I
say that,
agree
but then
with you,
Tony,
though.
he'll lose 40 pounds, right? Like if we get in a contest, it's like you have to be a pretty disciplined person to lose 40 pounds in a year.
Commits to
But-
shit and
you know,
goes
But then
hardcore.
gain it
Yeah.
back in 3 months. That also takes a different kind of life, or that takes a different kind of
Okay,
personality.
so you
also.
just mean more, yeah,
just
the
saying-
consistency of that piece. You're saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, just like I've never had like a bedtime. As a little kid, I don't like. I don't say, oh man, I should get in bed and make sure that I wake up around this time. I've never
Yeah.
done it my whole life. If I don't work until 2:30, I'm like, well, I can sleep in as late as I want. I'll let the sun wake me up. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, what I guess, yeah, but I mean, you're looking at that as being something that you feel like that's different from other people, or just
Well, I guess it comes down to the same thing as like the day old beers. When I wake up and I see the beer there, and it's like I can't resist my, resist drinking the day-old beer when I know it's like, all right, well, that's gross. That's disgusting. I don't need a day-old beer. But it's sitting right there, and it's my beer, and it's delicious, and I'm going to drink it. I can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. If one's good, 20's better. Yeah. I don't know.
I think you and I have a similar. I mean, I don't know Tony well enough. He may as well. We might be all three of the same people, but I think I have a similar thing. I think Dad has a similar thing. You know what I mean? I think we come from that, don't we?
But I guess what I'm saying is, what is it? It's being weak.
I mean, is it
you're better at
that?
it than me, obviously. But
Is it that, or is it also you've also been given whatever you wanted and you were allowed to do? Do you see what I'm saying? Like your whole life, it's maybe a mixture of both.
Yeah,
that also equals weak when you've been given stuff and not earned it, and you can indulge. That's weakness, though, right?
No, I think maybe not being able to refrain from the indulging might be a little bit of weakness. I think you should be able to have some self-control. Again, I'm the same way. I like to indulge. I like to consume is how I say it. I like to smoke. I like to drink. I like to smoke weed. At any time, I'm sitting here smoking a bowl with a pack of cigarettes and 2 different drinks in front of me right now to make sure I have something for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't
stay
think that's
hydrated.
a bad thing, but I think not being able to have it and being able to control it might be an issue. I think that most people suffer from that, just maybe some more than others. Again, as I have 7 things that are bad for me in front of me right now.
Well, let me bring this up, Tony, obviously, because this is directed more towards me and you. But, you're smoking. Mm-hmm. I know that we, at one point, were both smoking cigarettes together. We would sit around and smoke one after another, after another, after another. Mm-hmm. There was times where we quit. There would be times that we, did the vapor thing. I probably did the vapor thing more than you because I wasn't nervous about looking like a fucking pussy smoking up on a robot dick. You just kind of tried to do nothing and then eventually went back to smoking cigarettes. I don't know. It almost seems like the same thing to me. It's like I'm still such a weak person. I can't even give up smoking this stupid vapor thing.
It's hard. It's I think that is a mixture, though. That's a mixture of maybe being a little weak, but also that is these things do have a physical addiction, too. You know what I mean? It's not just weakness of will, but it's also some other shit that you got to deal with as far as getting it out of your system,
Can I say that you just were talking about the people at the dog park? Don't you think the people that are sitting there and that cell phone is 24/7, right? Don't you think that that's their weakness? You see what I'm saying? 100%. Don't you think we all? Do you see what I'm saying? Don't you think we all? I guess the lesson I more look at it is I believe that we're all weak people. In nature, I don't think there is such thing as these perfect people. Yeah. Just what I'm saying, we all have these weaknesses. It's just yours is that.
But Paul,
you get what I'm saying?
I guess what I'm saying is, why do I go to the dog beach and I feel so strongly about the people not watching their dogs that I get down here and I bitch about them? As I'm sitting here
and
smoking
you're a
vapor
good
thing.
dog owner.
Difference of opinions.
But as I'm sitting here with my own thing that I can't handle, that's out of control.
Difference of opinion.
You know what I mean?
And your point of view,
I can't wake up on time. I smoke a stupid electronic cigarette with a bunch of weird chemicals. You know what I mean? It's but then I have the right to complain about somebody not watching their dog because they're on their phone. Maybe they're actually looking at something important. Maybe their dad died and they're, I don't know, talking to their family. And I don't know.
I know what you mean, dude. We all have the right, obviously.
So quick.
Maybe, and like you said, maybe that's part of our problem, right? Is we're spoiled. That's where I'm not. Listen, I don't know Tony's lifestyle, but I don't know what he's up to. But by the looks of him through this Skype, it doesn't look like he's too hard off. You know what I'm saying? He's doing okay.
I'm all right.
I'm doing. You're right. We're doing okay. Everyone's doing okay here on this podcast. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude, think about the people that don't have these luxuries, and maybe, like you said, maybe that is the majority, maybe, of some of these problems, right? Is that we're just spoiled, selfish people, and I'll admit, dude, I think of myself first 99% of the time, right? Don't we all?
Yeah, man, that's human nature, you know what I mean?
And so I think that's where, do you have the right to, be upset with that person at the beach? Well, sure. Just like they would have the right if you walked by and maybe blew the vape in their face, right?
Vape cloud in their face.
I think it's pretty
Did
easy
you do it on
purpose?
to, and I think majority of people are pretty quick to judge other people. You know what I mean? I mean, even myself, I try so hard not to be that guy, but sometimes me and Tots are just sitting there someplace smoking a bowl, and you see somebody walking by that's doing something funny or goofy, and you fucking joke about them. It's kind of shitty. You shouldn't be calling people out and judging them just by looking at them, but I think it is also kind of human nature these days, Sometimes you got to put your foot in your mouth and realize, hey, man, don't be an asshole. Like you said earlier, maybe that guy's going through a hard time or some shit happened in their life that you don't even know. Easier said than done, I guess, to be that nice, good guy,
But I guess what I'm saying is, I'm the worst of I don't even think I'm, remotely even decent. So it's like, where do I come off? You know what I mean? Judging anybody for anything. It's like, I can't even wake up before 2 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard, though. I don't think you should ever look at something as a weak note, because, like I said, the weakness part is just, I think, what's embedded in all of us. You know what I mean? I don't think there's ever any way of escaping that. I think people that try to hide the weakness and try to be the perfect people, that's when you're on the path for destruction, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're just, that's going nowhere because it's not true. Nobody lives that lifestyle. So I'm more, hey, show your weakness and, oh, well, you try. I guess what I'm saying is,
Paul,
have you ever sat
I
down?
showed you my weakness by sending you a picture of my little dick.
Of your
my big balls.
You showed the weakness of your weakness. That was your and unfortunately that's the weakest part of your body. So it's your weakness and with your weakness. So listen, Head, don't be trying to divert. I do have something that I would like to challenge you.
Sorry.
Have you ever sat down with a little journal or something and opened it up and for the planned out? I know this sounds insane, but what if you were to just plan out a week? Sunday night, get in bed, wear the journal, and write Monday, right? Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just write out 2 kind of goals that you want to better yourself. And maybe we should all do this.
All right, I'm definitely in, but I'll almost take it another step further.
Okay.
I think that I need help with a lot of stuff. I think maybe so with my vape smoking, Lolo always gives me shit about fucking quitting and stopping and stuff. And she was giving me a bunch of shit, and she's like, "You're never gonna quit that stuff. You're never gonna do anything to help yourself," And I was just like, I know.
That sounds like my house.
Right?
Sounds like here too. I hate to tell you.
Yeah. But I had recently went down and with my little vapor juice stuff, I did get one half the I was like, well, dump half of the nicotine out of my second bottle. You know what I mean? So I could see if I can kind of start lowering the nicotine out of my little vapor thing. And I had just started switching over to that juice thing when she said that, and she's like, "You're never going to do anything." And I was just like, secretly, I was like, I don't want to say I'm doing anything because then she's going to hold me to something and I'm going to fail. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm just not going to say it, but she doesn't even know that I am trying. I'm just a weak asshole,
I did the same thing recently, man. I told Tots, I'm going to start trying to quit smoking. I'm down to 5 cigarettes a day. I'm down to 4 cigarettes a day. A week later, I'm back up to a pack a day. And now she's doing that shit again.
Right?
It's like, what happened to that quitting?
But dude, that's where
As
you want. What I guess what I'm saying is,
Right.
I think part of our problem though that we have to recognize, at least for Head and I don't know Tony close enough, but I'm the same way as Head, Tony. When I get into something, I think the first thing you and I need to recognize is we can't sit down. Head's going to be one of these things where the first day, Tony, is going to be half of something, or I'm not going to do this at all for 5 days straight. Do you know what I mean? Even the addiction of the overdoing of that he was just talking about in our lives takes over this part of his life as well. Where
I know that side of him.
Do you see what I'm saying? Where
but
he
Paul,
can't
I think
even
that's
spread it out.
What ruins,
do you see what I mean?
That's almost what ruins it for me.
Yes.
On a lot of the stuff is I overdo it.
Of course it does.
I over listen to the song, and then I don't want to hear it anymore for a while after the first month.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that's where acknowledging that, you recognizing that, is the first. That's an awesome thing, I think.
Okay, Paul, Paul, there are certain things like waking up maybe at a certain time every day. I have I've been listening to my Audible.
Okay, yeah.
I've been enjoying it. We listened to that one book, me and you.
Yeah.
And then I also listened to. I'm in the middle of a Jordan Peterson book, and it's 7 hours long. And it's the guy. he says like live as if live as if there is a God, and if all of that stuff is true, that's like his back, that's his backbone or whatever, which is awesome. But he says like the little things like waking up every day and making your bed. He goes, that is the simplest thing that somebody can do to start changing their lifestyle. He goes, it's a simple thing that you have the control of. You can throw the blanket on top of the bed and it's done.
Do you know where that piece comes from? Is the military piece. You know what I'm saying? Like, like keeping your area tidy, and that just comes down to that piece. That's just a whole different. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I think that's a great first step.
Honestly, I heard
but
that
Paul,
a long time ago.
as much as you're saying I overdo, I mean, I guess I could even start like as simple stuff like I should probably, as a almost 40-year-old man, I should probably make my bed every day. There's no overdoing it when it comes to like, oh, maybe you should make your bed as a grown man every day. That's something I should probably just do every day. But my whole
I barely make my bed. I like pull the stuff up and make sure I just tighten it. That's all. I just go like that, but I don't straighten anything. So, dude, so I'm as guilty as you are.
My shit's folded.
Dude, see, there you are.
It does feel nice.
You're a
so
structured, see, that's good. That's good.
I also have 4 dogs that jump all over it, so if I don't make that shit, it's like dog hair on the sheets and shit, so maybe that's kind of where
But it's almost become almost like a routine, that if you don't do this, you're going to have a bigger mess later on to clean up. So
my house doesn't feel comfy to sit in until my bed's made. I clean off my nightstands, make the bed, and for some reason my bedroom looks 100% different. It's weird.
You mean that dog hair that's on the nightstand that we get? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, dust that off too. Dust that off. Use underwear.
I go to dust that thing. I'm just like, where does all this hair? You go like, and it just hair is just like, oof. It's too much dog hair. Well, Header, I think that's good, dude.
You guys with your little dogs, it's so cute hearing you talk about dog
hair.
Dude,
right.
I can't imagine that. So maybe, Header, what we do is some kind of, maybe we talk about that over the next couple of weeks, but I think this is good stuff to talk about because I think this is stuff that, just start small.
Feeling that he's going to go someplace different with this because he always likes to challenge me to shit. He already warned me. He's going to call me out to some bullshit.
Well, it's good. It's good for all of us.
I guess the thing would be also knowing that I am that kind of person where it's like I need the competition or I need a reason.
Sure.
Like you said, Paul, it is the holiday. We're right after Christmas and we're going into the new year. New Year's resolutions. Tony and I do the smoking thing.
I don't ever usually do any,
is
but I
Tony
can.
willing to try to quit smoking if I'm going to try to quit doing the vapor thing?
I think my camera's cutting out, man. I can't hear you.
Why would you want to quit smoking? Is it just, at this point, it's just it's bad for you, and that's why?
For me?
Either one of you.
Go for it, Tony.
Man, it is going to kill me.
Why would you want to?
It's going to kill me, man.
Yeah,
I
just
have
hell,
trouble breathing. When I'm walking down the beach, even, it's like, why can't I walk a little faster? Why am I the only guy that's like sweating all over the place as we try to walk out to our spot on the beach?
Yeah.
Also out here, like $25 a day in cigarettes. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
that's I didn't even think about that
but
piece.
20 years of smoking, a family with respiratory and heart problems. It would be pretty smart for me to quit smoking. I think that does kind of come.
What do you think, Tony, is holding you back? What do you think is the main thing holding you back?
God, I love to smoke.
They're so delicious.
I love to smoke.
Just that you're in the routine of it. It's just like
it is a huge routine. I mean, before, after stuff. I mean, it just is a constant with me.
It's the person that either like, oh man, that first drink of that beer right at the end of the day, you're like, wow, or you've got the people that are addicted to the soda. I don't know if you guys drink soda. Do you drink soda?
No.
Once that's one thing. That's luckily one thing I'm not into. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, dude, I've had friends that like, they have to have that Coke like at 7:30 in the morning when they get up to go to work.
Right.
Paul, it's probably better to have a Coke at 7:30 in the morning versus your day-old beer at 7:30 in the morning before you go to work.
I'm going to be honest with you, like that Diet Coke and some of that diet, not really, dude. And that's what I'm trying to say. None of that shit's good.
Beer's probably better for you than Coke.
So you're telling me I can drink morning day-old beers? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. Dude, that like brown sugar water, that stuff will do you in as well, I'm telling you. So that's, I hear you, Tony. I just mean it's like the taste, I guess is what I mean, the routine of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely.
I see those people that go to like QT, they bring in their own QT cup. They just use the same cup, right? And so what I'm saying is that's where, if you fill that up, Header, right, and you're doing that over and over. And I think that's the thing with the smoking. The same thing. Like, can we try to like? I guess what I'm saying is I don't even know how do you start to stop smoking? I don't even know how to do it.
I've only
stop smoking.
You just stop. You think that's how to do it?
One time, I quit for about 3 years. To quit smoking for me, when I stopped last time, I used a vape pen, and I kind of did what Hedrick was talking about. I bought 4 little juices. The first juice was full of nicotine. The next juice was half nicotine. The next one was no nicotine. And when I got to the no nicotine and that ran out, I tossed the pen aside and I was done. But obviously that didn't last. 3 years. I quit smoking for 3 years. Yeah. So I don't know what
3
attributed
years
back to me smoking
completely
again.
stopped smoking for 3 years.
Yeah, completely quit smoking for 3 years.
Wow.
You know when I actually
me
started
too.
smoking,
I think I was right there with Tony. I think I almost quit at the same time, Tony. Didn't we quit at the same time almost?
We might have, yeah. It was before I moved out here. Before I moved to Hawaii, I was in San Antonio still. There's a buddy with me, my buddy Miles out there too. He quit smoking at the same time. He still doesn't smoke to this day. I went to China, and when we went to China, I couldn't bring any weed or anything like that with me. I'm a big smoker. I smoke a lot of pot. So I was like, fuck it. We're over there. I'll get a couple little cigars and puff on these cigars while I'm here. Well, I went in to buy some cigars. I found one cigar, smoked the cigar, go back to buy some more. The lady can't understand what I'm talking about, and all she'll sell me is a box of cigars. So I was like, fuck it. I'll get this box of cigars.
One's good, 20's better.
So
exactly.
These things a little
You didn't say no.
And these things are real fucking good, man. So when I get back to the U.S., I'm like, well, I'll just finish smoking this box of cigars. Well, and that turned into me smoking Black and Milds, actually. And I was smoking Black and Milds for probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years even. And I mean, it was
which is
went from
super
a couple
harsh.
Black and Milds a day to like 2 packs of Black and Milds a day to fuck it, I'll just start smoking cigarettes again. So it was definitely a slow progression back to smoking, and it's funny how it took that couple of weeks of not having something that's my habit, whether it's the smoking. Obviously, it wasn't the getting high; it was just the smoking. You know what I mean? Because I wanted something to puff on. I wanted something to smoke.
You know what got me back on it?
Go ahead. Yeah,
was my buddy from Norway. Shout out to Robert.
Robert.
What up, dog? He. Over in Europe and stuff, a lot of times they'll roast some tobacco and they'll mix it with a little bit of hash and they'll roll it up, the warm it up hash with the roasted tobacco, and they'll make like a little weird, like coated tobacco, like almost like a tar coated tobacco type of mixture, just messing with it with their fingers. And then they'll mix a little bit of weed in there and roll up joints with that hash-covered roasted tobacco mixed with weed and twist that up. And, it's so delicious if done correctly. You know what I mean? Where you instantly, you're like, oh, this is why people over there smoke these. It's like, oh, it's because it's, like, super delicious. I believe over in Europe they can get hash a little easier. That's a little bit more of a common type of thing. I don't know, Tony, if you agree with that, but yeah. I don't know. But smoking those, just even having that tobacco, 25% of a joint with some roasted tobacco in there and having that taste, it totally
but you're not smoking. You're still not smoking cigarettes, though, right? You're just smoking that little electric dick.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah? Okay.
Yep.
It's funny. Yeah, I think that shit's weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just that I'm old school. I like fucking cigarettes. And I think, too, that when those little electric cigarettes, maybe it's stupid because it's like we know cigarettes are going to fucking kill you, but I think the unknown of those vape pens is what scares me. I'm like, well, what the fuck are those going to do to you in 30 years? So I'm like, at least I know
you're
going to
die before me, no matter what, for sure.
But do you get whatever it is you're needing from both of those equally?
Well, you get there's definitely liquid nicotine in the vape juice, so you get a shot of nicotine for sure to your dome.
The vape pen I used to help me quit was hugely helpful. Hugely, because every time I felt like I needed a cigarette, I could just kind of puff on that pen a little bit, especially with the nicotine at first. That was my idea this last time of, all right, I should quit, and usually I just quit something, but I smoked so much, the thought of cutting from 2 packs a day to nothing was just like, I'm just going to be an asshole for 2 weeks because the nicotine withdrawals. So I was like, well, I'll cut it back.
I don't think you do anything down to nothing. But if you heard Tony, what he said is the time that he smoked, quit before 3 years ago, he quit with somebody, is what he specifically said. So what I'm saying is, you guys should try
I quit with Tony, I think.
No, Tony.
I quit with Miles.
Tony was
and I
saying
think
when
that-
he quit.
Oh, the miles, yeah.
So what I'm saying is maybe you two should do it together. It sounds like Tony, that's what helped him a lot was.
Maybe that's
Do you
what
see what I'm
Tony
saying?
needs.
I just saw Hedrick's eyeballs light up. Is it competition?
Well, I'm just saying, listen, it's a both is something that, you know.
All right, let's do
You
it.
know.
You know I'm better than
And
you.
it does,
Hedrick.
and
I'll
listen,
beat you.
what I'm saying is,
So we're gonna put a wager on this.
listen, okay, I'm the referee of it. Listen, it can't be
The referee.
like
It needs to be a
down
positive
to
thing that we both
nothing
wanna do,
tomorrow.
right?
Do you know what I'm saying? It can't be extreme. It needs to be it needs to be safe. Do you know what I'm
All right, so
saying?
let's
Where
make
we
it a
just
progressive quit, and by
Yeah.
January 15th, we both have to be quit, and then whoever stays
Okay.
quit the longest wins. What do we win?
Okay, and then our girlfriends are the judges.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
do that because you know the.
And I think what we do on
I have a
January 15th. Listen, and then I think
gonna
what we
get
do on January 15th is we have the girlfriends come in on the podcast and get
And
and,
talk about how
and they
grouchy
have
we
to
were?
they have to agree who the winner will be. So they'll be updating one
Well,
another.
we'll have to do that the podcast after because why do we do this? By the next podcast
okay.
should be 2 weeks by now. That'll be our
We'll
quitting.
plan it in there. We'll plan it in there.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All
We'll
right.
plan
And
it
then
in
what
the
I'm saying is
schedule.
sometime in January we need to have the two girls,
We
the
need to be
girls
healthy,
come
Tony.
on,
We
the
need to
girlfriend
get
and the
it-
wife, right? We have the girlfriend and the
Okay.
wife. They stay updated with one another. They're talking amongst each other, right? And then what's going to happen is when they come on, they're going to announce the winner. They're going to have to agree together who
Well,
beat
but there
who.
might not be a winner if we both.
There might not
Uh-oh.
be a winner if we
Well,
both
you might be right.
stay-
You might be right. Might be two
We might
losers.
both be
prize
winners
for the
by not
person?
having a winner.
What-
If we don't have a
I
winner,
guess so,
we're
yeah,
both
right, then
winners.
We're both winners. But if there is
Yeah.
a winner, then what does that winner
Yeah.
win?
yeah.
Well, the
He
winner's
wins his
obviously
life-
not going
his
to get
life.
much,
I
but
know,
the
yeah.
loser should definitely do something bad.
Oh, do something. Now it's going to turn into fucking one of those, huh?
Yeah, of course. But you
You
already
call
did
it.
your drum
Well,
solo,
I'll
so
tell you
you
what.
already won up. You already won up on all of us.
we will ponder
Yeah, he
that,
is.
and we'll come back
Yeah.
to it next time. We'll
Yeah,
say what the wages
I like
are.
the
sure, for
idea
sure.
though of getting the
All
wife
right.
and the girlfriend involved, and I like them like holding you guys accountable. I want to hear from them of like what you guys are up to. They'll tell me the
At our
truth.
ad-
I'm on board with
Well,
this.
my thing would be like our like the attitudes. I know
That's
my
what I
wife
wanna
will
hear.
Be like, this motherfucker was
Oh, yeah.
grouchy, and he
My
started
girl's
yelling
gonna
at
hate
me.
me. I'm already an asshole, and she already deals with me as it is. And now I'm going to quit smoking. She's going to love the quit smoking part. She's going to hate the fucking.
So we need
attitude
to
that
we
comes
need
with
to
it.
we need to come back to that. We'll get the rules set
Yeah,
up. We'll
we will.
figure
We'll
that
set
one
this all
out.
up, and the
You
next
know,
time we're on
this
the
one's
podcast,
too
you lay
good.
it
This
down
one's
and-
too good to just make it up on the fly. We'll have to
That's
think
good.
about this thing.
Yeah, we got to plan it out.
All right.
Let's
But
get
then
in,
I
let's
like-
get into some Steve-O. Let's get into some
But
Steve-O.
hold on real quick. I do
What do you
like the
say?
idea of the basics of what Tony said. He already kind of set up the challenge.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
by January 15th, we should both be not smoking.
Yes.
Okay, if that's what you guys want for the date.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, let's just set that right now
it's
and
set.
just
Set the
say
date.
we'll figure out the dynamics after
I
that.
like
But
it.
let's
Get
be
these
smoke free on the
cigarettes in. Let me
15th.
fucking-
Uh-oh,
let me
he's
light
got-
another
he's
one.
already got his back
He
open.
wants
He's
to
already-
smoke already. Yes, get it, Tony.
He's
Get
he's
it.
already lighting up 3 cigarettes in a row. Yeah, he's got him back to back. He's ready to go. Well, perfect. It'll be perfect segue for Steve-O.
Yeah, let's talk
so-
about this Steve-O stuff. You told us
Oh,
to watch
man.
it the last time around. Now we
Who
all
told
watched
us
it.
to watch this?
That
Wasn't
was
this
him.
you,
I think
Tony?
I was.
That was a
I
headband.
think
I
it was
thought you-
me.
I thought Tony
I
though
was-
was like really in love with Steve-O.
No, I do like Steve-O, but this was a Headley idea.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember
Most
whose
ideas
idea
are
it was.
Headley ideas. He's the creative one.
He's,
So
he's the creative director on this podcast. Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, great! They're like, "Oh, wow, that guy's terrible." So I guess where it started is I remember, a year or two ago, seeing Steve-O post something on Instagram, and I remember him showing the burn bubbles from his
So gross.
kerosene snow angels or kerosene burn angel. Can't remember what
Fire
they called
angels.
it. Fire angels. The
Yep.
kerosene fire angels.
Yep.
I
Fire
remember
Angel.
him posting the video online of him holding his bicep, and I remember it going back and forth and seeing the fluid drain forward and backward inside the pus bubble.
Oh, so gross.
And from that moment, I was like, I want to see how that went down.
Oh.
I'm interested. Like,
I
I'm
mean,
hooked.
But before we keep talking too, I mean, major spoiler alert, because I got to talk about that in depth at the end of that fucking movie. That was horrible, dude. He drains that shit out and takes the shot of fucking pus from his blisters. I mean, I got a strong stomach, dude, and I got a little gaggy on that. Oh, so bad. Oh, my God.
But I think that's when it started, is when I saw the pus bubble thing and he started talking about the kerosene fire angel. I was like, well, I'm interested in that, and I think that's neat, and I would support that. So, of course, when I see that it's like $10 or whatever to watch, I'm like, oh, I would love to support that. I saw Steve-O and Tom Green live in Vegas.
That's awesome.
We went out, I think, once again, it was like $20 a ticket, you know, to go sit and watch Steve-O and Tom Green. I love Tom Green.
Yeah, me too.
I love Tom Green. I love that Tom
he's
Green
funny.
movie that got the worst movie award or whatever. Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? You know, whatever that movie is.
What is it? Freddie got fingered.
Yeah, Freddie got
Yeah.
fingered, man. So good. He skateboards through the mall at the beginning. Such a good movie. So, I don't know. So, you know,
Steve-O.
that's where it started. But Steve-O, you know, it's like, I think it's cool that he started doing the whole stand-up thing. I think he has a niche for it. I think he,
His
it's
whole
not like
last
he's like
couple
super
years was kind of rad though too. I mean, he's just kind of bounced around in the car in the little van he created. He's doing interviews with people
Yeah.
in the little van, going live on podcasts
yeah,
and shit like
has
that.
a little
And it's-
podcast set up. I
he's-
think he
he's
got
a
that
cool little
van
dude.
set up for free from some company that does remodeling of vans.
I'm sure he did, yeah, and he's posted
It's
it up
just
all over
kinda-
the place. I'm sure they've gotten
Yeah,
their money
he
from that.
Yeah, he got a van, started traveling around. But what's up, Paul?
Was this a promo kind of thing for? Aren't they filming a new Jackass movie?
I heard
No,
rumors of that.
This is his own thing.
This is
he
his
started
own
a
thing. Okay, I
stand-up
didn't know if
comedy.
this was kind of like a, you know, like I know he was out doing his own thing, but I didn't know if this whole thing was like, because there's a ton of the
No.
Jackass people were in it.
I think it all just kind of came to, and I'm sure that if they do a Jackass 4, it's probably going to be just because of the way it's
Yeah.
been evolving. But I think him going around and doing the podcast and interviewing people was a total separate thing. It was just what he was doing, and then it turned into him wanting to do this movie, this show, this stand-up, and then I don't think anybody bought it. Like Netflix, none of them wanted to put it on their platform. And that's where it turned into him putting it on his website and saying, fuck it, come buy it here. Fuck those guys. I think he literally says that in the...
Yeah,
in the
yeah, and
special.
it's kind of cool because you know what style it is, Header, is it's kind of like that Beastie Boys, you know, except he didn't have it playing up behind him. They just spliced it in, you know, or he told the
cut to
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was kind of cool because he even did some live type stuff up on the stage, but then he, you know, cut to the film type stuff. But dude, the problem with me is with this type of stuff, I'm going to be honest with you, it's like 57, 58 minutes. I had to fast forward through 30 minutes of it at least because I cannot watch people eat anything. Like eat anything weird. Eat
What do you
like
mean eat stuff?
The condom.
I
they
mean,
smoke his own
swallow
pubes?
like bodily
Dude, he
fluids or
re-swallowed
eat.
that
Paul.
condom. Do you
Dude,
remember that
I
part?
can't. Yes,
Paul.
I can't. That's what I'm saying. Like I had
Let's
to.
have
I
Paul
have to
talk
just
about
bust
it real
through
quick.
that.
Since Paul can't do it, let's have him talk about what happened. Paul, go.
Listen,
Tell us what
well,
happened
I mean,
with the
listen.
condom
I
thing.
just mean, like you said, like anything where, like, I am fine with doing the fire angels. He gets up, he's all burnt and stuff. Okay, so he has some bubbles, and then yeah, if he's drinking anything or swallowing condoms filled with things, if
And
he's,
then
I
re-swallowing
mean,
that condom 5 years later.
I can't listen to me. I can't. That's what I'm
Paul,
saying.
the
Like that kind
poo-covered
of stuff.
Condom.
I can't. I
Paul,
can't deal with
Are you
it.
gagging
You know?
right now?
Listen, I can listen to anything. But I did enjoy, like, I mean, I liked seeing everybody come back. I liked when they were hitting those baseballs at him. I thought that was super funny, you know. And him just, you know, just the cameras of him driving out on the freeway, all, you know, strapped up to that
I thought it was
tractor
good, man.
trailer thing.
I
I
mean,
thought
the
that
whole
was kind of
show, too,
cool.
Kind of recaps
Yeah.
almost kind of some of the highlights in his career too. You know, it's like the whole stand-up routine.
Yeah,
He's
it's just
going
kind
through
of
all
like
these
caught you
different
up on
things
like
he's
who he
done,
was, you know, like hey, you
Yeah.
know, and dude, you know, he obviously brings back his old school type stuff that he knows everybody wants
Mm-hmm.
to see, and you know, at the end of it, but dude, I just can't watch. There's just certain pieces. I love the action stuff. I love when they threw Bam and those snakes and stuff like on the Jackass movies, like that kind of
You just
goofy
don't
stuff.
like
I
the
watch that
barfy
all day
shit and
long.
the eating stuff.
Oh, dude, I can't watch anything where
What about
people
when
are
he smoked
eating
his
weird
pubes?
stuff.
Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah, like but it's not as bad as ingesting. I guess anything you swallow. I just feel like bugs, weird stuff like that is really nasty to me. It makes me sick. It makes like Tony where I feel sick, like I got to go to the bathroom. So I have to buzz through it. So I'm a baby when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, all together, dude, it was fun.
It was a good special though.
I
It was
thought
fun
it
for
was-
$10 for an online $10
Well, and I like
nonsense.
Steve-O. I've always thought his shit was good, man. He's always made.
I was actually pretty surprised how comfortable he was doing the just stand-up stuff.
He's been
like,
doing it
you
for a
know,
That's all he's
though
been
now.
doing, Paul. It's all
Yeah.
he's been doing. I think it's been years.
But
that he's
I
been
mean
doing
more
that
to the
stuff.
fact that like he kind of takes a little different approach and kind of just bees himself, as himself versus trying to
He
be a
talks about
character
that too,
or
He did. He's done Joe Rogan. I want to say it was probably to promote all this stuff, but he did Joe Rogan
Okay.
recently, and I was listening to him on there, and it was. I mean, it was definitely steps to get him to do the stand up. It's like something he wanted to do. He did it, felt awkward as fuck, but kept on building off of it. And it's, I mean, I think he got it down pretty good. You could definitely tell that like he's not necessarily naturally a comedian. But I think he did well. Again, the way he did it, it was pretty cool. I thought the proposal to his wife at the end was pretty fucking cheesy. I mean, that's cool and all, but really, did you really have to throw that in at the end? Like, that was stupid. Congratulations, she's super
when
cute.
you're
I'm sure you're happy,
when you're
but-
when you're in love, you're in love,
Super hot.
When
You
you're in
know he's gonna
love,
look
you're
back
in
20
love.
years later after he divorces her and been like, fuck.
Well, like you said on Jackass 4, that's going to be the first thing they make fun of him about. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be what happens.
It's funny. It's funny hearing him talk about going sober and then doing the shit too. Because of how fucked up. And I mean, the video clips they showed of him fucked up, and he looked crazy, man. I mean, you see him sitting there with 200 whippets below him, and he's just fucking screaming. Could you imagine being his neighbor? And he's fucking literally pounding a hole through your fucking wall to get into your place. Holy shit, that's fucking crazy.
If Timo and I lived next to him, we'd be best friends.
Timo would break
Be like,
down
dog,
the wall
pass some
because
cartridges through.
you stick your head through.
But I think that's where, he goes back to the piece of not being able to just do one of something. You know what I'm saying? Like, the same personality that we were just talking about, right?
Right. No, that's a
You
trip,
can't
man.
just suck the CO2 from
No.
the whipped cream cartridge. You got to go down and buy the whole pack of canisters
Maybe get
and
another
take care
one
of the
just
whole
in case.
business.
And build a whole skateboard ramp in your house. Remember, dude? I remember we were watching something. I think it was like I can't remember if it was Cribs or something, but they did one back in the days when he first got his money from Jackass, Tony, and like he had built like his whole entire house was just skateboard ramps.
I've
I don't know
seen
if you
that too,
saw
yeah.
it.
I
Have
have.
you seen that? And someone comes, and they're just like one guy skateboards up and like just busts through the ceiling fan.
Yep.
And just
He
I mean,
rented that-
it's
I've heard him
almost
talk about that. He had like 3 apartments that he rented side by side and started knocking down walls
It's-
between and doing the skate ramps and shit.
it's almost like if I let my little 6-year-old just run through the candy store like at the
Definitely.
mall. Do you know what I mean? Like they wouldn't be able to help themselves. That's what it's like when you give Steve-O like here's 50 grand, here's your first paycheck, right? And what do we do with all this? Well, let's go to Home Depot and buy a bunch of wood and build a bunch of ramps. So
Paul, Paul, Tony is an
Yep.
asshole.
okay.
Do you want me to tell you something?
I know where you're going with this.
Okay.
Tony, we've gotten into many conversations about this over the years. Tony is such an asshole. He says, and you tell me if he is just a person that does not have a child yet, and he is just ill-informed and doesn't know how real life works. He says that when he if and when / if when whatever, he says if he has a kid, he's not gonna tell them that there's a Santa. He's not gonna buy into the nonsense that there is a guy in a sleigh with reindeer that brings people presents.
I will not
Do you-
lie.
do you-
That's
do you-
my child.
Tony, do you want to know what my wife and I just the other night? You want to know what we used to say before we had kids?
Let's hear it.
We just were talking about it. We all we just looked at each other and we laughed. We started just bust. How when we always used to say we weren't going to be those parents where their kid acted up. Like in a grocery store or a. Do you know what I mean? Like and you're like, look at that little asshole kid, right? Like those parents, they don't know what they're doing, right? Jessica and I, we looked at each other the other night and said, remember when we said we weren't going to be one of those parents? So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, we all say we're not going to be something. We're not going to listen. We all say these things. I hear where you're coming from, but when that kid comes, and you might get into it. It might be like this, quitting smoking or anything else. It might be a new thing you're into, and it might be something you're. But what I'm saying is, I can't. I used to be one of those people like I'm never gonna listen. I'm definitely not that anymore because I used to say I'm never gonna have my kids are never gonna be this. We're never gonna be these people. We're never. Listen. You can't say those things, right?
I think that's a little bit different to what he's saying, I guess, because I am definitely not I will never person either. This is different though. Like, I will celebrate the holidays. I won't even have a tree. There might even be presents.
What holidays are you celebrating?
But
Let's break it down.
We could celebrate. You could call it Christmas if you
4th
want to.
4th of July? You celebrating 4th of July?
I'm not a big holiday guy regardless.
So you're not celebrating
He's saying there's going to be presents. He said there's going to be presents on the tree.
Is that I'm not going to bullshit and say Santa Claus came and brought it. I'm not even saying that I won't tell my kids the story of Santa Claus.
Paul,
but what I'm not going to do is bullshit and lie
and
say.
But you might write on the tag to whatever the child's name is from Santa.
I won't.
You won't write.
He said no Santa. There is no Santa. He's telling
Santa.
his kids there's no Santa.
There's
it's
no
fake.
Santa.
He said he wouldn't verbally say it. I thought maybe he might, like if they got a gift.
No, he'll verbally say it.
Tell them the story of Santa Claus and let them know, this is a story.
Okay.
Like, Mom and Dad are going to get you some presents for tomorrow. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
If you want to leave some cookies out, I'll eat them.
Listen, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with the idea of that at all. I think it's actually pretty good. I just when the
Paul,
when the
how
time
excited
comes,
are your kids about Santa,
dude? What I'm telling him is when the time comes and he has those kids in there, and if we're still doing this podcast, we're going to talk about this because he's going to be saying something different. Is what he's going to be doing.
I don't think so, man.
Paul's calling it right now. You're full of shit, basically.
And what I mean is, I hear where you're coming from. It makes sense. I'm not. Listen, I hear where it makes perfect sense.
That doesn't say from Santa on them.
It's
oh
just
my God. Dogs and cats. It's not the same, right, Tony?
The dogs.
Come on.
Dogs get their
That's
friends.
what Lolo said to me. It's not the same.
But you know what? Friends. You know what, Head? Dude, it's hard, man. Because Tony, I've got him so spread out. I've got the 10-year-old as well. So he's at the point where I don't know with school last year, like what he knows and what he doesn't. Right. He's pretty smart. You know what I mean? He's not right head. I mean, he's that quiet, smart kid.
I was dumb, though. I thought...
Really? Okay.
I thought there was a Santa to probably tell I was like 15 or 16.
But, Head, we didn't live in the world of YouTube and Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
And we lived in a different world back then.
Right.
You know what I mean? Things were kept quiet back then. That they're not kept quiet now. So what I'm saying is, I don't know what he knows, but I know that the younger one, it's always fun to... like Head said, play along. You know what I mean? When you have kids, that's
Tony
the whole
thinks
point
that's
of
not
having...
fun. Tony got picked on.
Okay,
Tony got picked on by his sister.
No, what I'm saying, Tony, is and I want to hear the story. But what I'm saying, Tony, is playing along with, like, for instance, if you're out, you're out with the blowhole at the beach with the kid, right? Say you have a boy, right? And he's like 4 or 5, and he's like, Dad, look over there. Here come the ninjas, or here come the. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna be into whatever that is because you're gonna be psyched that he's just giving you like the time of day to.
But if my kid looked at me and said, "Dad, what is that blowhole actually?" I wouldn't be like, "It's ninjas."
Well, no.
It's water pressure pushing up through the rock, son.
But Tony, you might say, son, look at the waterfall going over the. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might embellish the blowhole into now this cool
waterfall.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? Like that, you just get caught up in it, Tony. You don't even know you're doing it. I'm just wait. You'll see when you get out there. You'll get suckered in. We all get suckered in, But I'm not saying that equates to what we're talking about. But that's where I'm trying to get you to understand where it comes from.
Tony's gonna be a bitch.
No, he's not. Listen.
Yes,
we'll see what happens.
Bitch.
I think
his
mind's gonna get
playing
changed.
piano and riding a skateboard.
I know that,
and your kid's sitting there waiting for Santa
funny.
Claus.
That's funny. That's funny. That's too good. But I know what you mean, Tony, with that piece. I don't. What do you think, Head? I know Head would be like just he would almost be overboard with it.
Head's the one that like gives me the most
Yeah.
shit. We got into a conversation with some mutual friends, and our other friend too, Bradley, was just like, "You're gonna take the kids' dreams? Like you're an asshole."
Head's
like
worse
you're
than
gonna
I
rip
am.
apart every imagination part of his brain, like just rip it apart and throw it away. Like wow.
I'm just not gonna lie to him. He can have all the imagination
Paul, I remember.
he wants.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Paul, I remember when I was a kid. I literally remember my body convulsing. I remember my body shaking, and I'm sure it was. I mean, it was Arizona, so it wasn't that fucking cold. You know what I mean? But I'm sure I woke up in my PJ pants. You know, that I got the night before on Christmas Eve because you'd always get the fucking stupid ass present on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve, you know?
the PJs for that
pajamas.
night.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. But yeah, I remember I'd wake up in that. I don't remember my little. I want to open my presents now. You know, I'd be eating chocolate bars, you know, out of my stocking as fast as possible, shaking and convulsing. Yeah, dude, I remember it was fun for me. And I never.
Well,
I think with the
I
difference-
guess what I mean. Tony, did you have that experience as a child?
Yes, and
Tony
I-
got
that's the difference,
teased
though,
about
too,
it.
'cause I had
Let
all
me
kinds
hear.
of-
Let me hear what Tony says.
I used to get excited for Christmas, but it was definitely just like a tease in my house. There was enough separation between me and my sisters to where it wasn't all of us excited together. They already knew Santa didn't exist. So to the whole house and the whole family, it was just like everybody psyching me out and everybody trying to fuck with me. And as much as I love my sisters and they love me and have always had my back, they loved to fuck with me. So every Christmas, it would be some shit like I get coal in a bag or roaches in a little thing, or it was just and it just always the bullshit. And like they're waiting for me to fucking do some stupid shit or get excited over some stupid shit that doesn't exist. All to come and find out later on that it was all just a big fucking joke on me. Yeah, fuck that. My kids will know the truth.
See, listen, Head. You know where I come from, Head. You know the journey I've been on for the last 2.5 years, right?
thought maybe Paul would agree. He'd be
Listen,
like, yeah,
listen.
screw it.
I'm
Let's tell
listen.
everybody.
I believe we come from where we come from, and we make decisions because of where we come from. You listen.
Right.
You ask
Products
Head.
of our
I
environment.
Lies we were
think
told
that's
when we
all
were
we
young.
are about. And so, to hear that story, what I'm saying is that's exactly, that sucks, right? Because, yeah, you guys have the complete opposite experiences. You know what I'm saying?
And
But-
I do still remember Christmas again is fun, man. I love my sisters. It was a good
yeah,
time.
yeah.
The presents, the
Yeah,
shit.
it's a good time.
But yeah, when I think back to
Yeah.
that part, it's like, fuck
Yeah.
Well, it's the real.
Yeah.
It's the realizing later on when you look back and you say,
I can-
"Oh, well, I remember that thing where they
remember
did
the
that,
moment
and
that I
that was
realized
mean." If
And I was too
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
for it to be. They
Yeah.
hated for me for too long, man. I think I was like 7 or 8 or 9 or some shit by the time I
Yeah,
realized
yeah,
this. And I found a bunch of presents, and then those were the presents from Santa under the tree. And that was like the moment of realization. I remember just like, these and they're all still looking at me like, look what Santa got you. And I'm like, you motherfuckers. Like, this was in your, you got it. This is bullshit. Like, all them turds in the bag and coals that you said were from Santa were not. They're from
Turds
my
in the
sisters.
turds in the bag.
Poor
Tony, I think
Daddy.
I found my presents one year, and I think that I got in trouble for it. They're like, "Stop snooping! You need to stop
Probably.
snooping
Head
around."
was, Head was always good at that. Head was that kid that was good at like holding the present and he could tell what it was. You know what I mean? He was good at that. I could never
Shaking
do
it
that.
up.
I
piece.
snooped one year and found it, and I had convinced myself when I found these things that they weren't for me because I wanted to believe so bad. So I was like, no, that can't be for me. That's obviously for my cousins. That's not for me. No, that was all my shit.
On Christmas morning, you realized,
Right?
you're like, "Oh, this is all my stuff. It's the same wrapping paper."
Same shit. I've seen this. This is not for my cousin.
So we can
Oh,
we
funny.
can use some of these past angers that we've all spoke about tonight to quit smoking, quit right. We could all look back and say, which listen, this may be the reason we're all doing these shots at the beginning is because of all these past traumas that we're talking about, right? All this
Shots,
stuff,
multiple
but-
bowls, 10 cigarettes.
Yeah,
I'm coping, all
pens.
right?
vape pens, Coke bowls,
It's fucking funny, man.
vape pens, Coke plates, whatever.
So,
Too good, man.
so me and Head, like we said, me and Head talked a little bit the last couple weeks, kind of trying to organize some thoughts with this. So something that me and him had talked about is that maybe a fun thing to start doing, which we kind of did today, was every week or every time we do this, at the end of it, for Head to recommend us some stuff and recommend something
Yeah,
for us to
because
listen
you guys
to,
are
or
cool.
watch, or read, and the next time we'll talk about it. So I'm kind of curious to see what Head might have put together for us this week, because I like Steve-O.
So yeah. So I have a couple ideas. So I didn't know exactly how, I wanted to make sure that you guys actually wanted to do it. I wanted to keep it interesting. I don't
do.
want
I
it
think
to be something that Paul's like, oh man, I've got to go and listen to this again.
I think it's fun, man. I think we got a couple weeks in between every
Look,
podcast. at this
give
point,
it
too,
to us.
so,
I
yeah.
think me yelling at you about it would be funny. So let's just get it out there.
So my first one was, and I wrote down two things, and I thought it would be, interesting. It's basically both the, the SoundCloud mumble rappers delight, which would be my favorite dude, 93 Feet of Smoke, and or the documentary on Netflix about Little Peep. And I know, and I started with this because I know it's going to be something that is going to be not necessarily loved, but you have a couple options. I would say, like, listen to some 93 Feet of Smoke songs and do a little report on those. And or if you really want to get down with it, go and watch that Little Peep documentary on Netflix, and it shows him dead.
I
at the
definitely
end.
hate fucking mumble rap, but I will definitely do this.
Oh, man. That Little Peep documentary, I just rewatched it the other day.
How about
I put it on in the morning.
let's start with the documentary. I think we roll with that.
Okay.
All right, so Little Peep
Okay,
documentary.
well, what I
Okay,
was...
little
Paul, so-
Peep.
No, you're wrong. Lil.
No.
L-I-L.
Lil.
No.
Oh, I got LIL. I wrote it as that. Even though I didn't want to write it as that. I got it as
So,
that.
Paul, the only thing is, a documentary is going to be a couple hours, an hour and
That's
a half,
fine.
2 hours.
I'd rather watch the
listening to a
documentary and the
couple songs of
filmmaking.
somebody else.
No. I'd rather watch the film. I like storytelling. I don't care what it's about.
Okay.
I'm more interested in hearing people's stories. I can put up with all that crazy shit they're doing if I can hear what they're up to and what they're about. You know what I mean?
That sounds much better than listening to Hedrick's top 4
That's what I
songs
mean.
from last year.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Well, like I
could be
said,
really
I mean,
bad.
I sent
Okay.
it to you guys. They sent you the Spotify top, your top listens. And my
Little
stuff's
Pete.
all the same person. And I'm like, all right. Well, this obviously is for a reason. Why doesn't my brother listen to this? Why is he a hater on
I'll
all
listen
of
to
it?
that stuff too, but
Listen, I'll watch the little Peep, but we can talk about it.
Paul, the Little
Yeah.
Pete, man, it's really sad. You know what I mean? It's really a sad story. And when I watched it for the first time, I'll be honest with you, I was not a fan. I did know that he died in Arizona. I remember getting the news on my phone when I was at work, and I remember them saying that he was found dead from a drug overdose on his bus in Tucson, Arizona. I was like, man, that's sad. You know what I mean? Like, how crazy the kid
Well,
was.
listen,
like,
listen. Stop giving it away. You're starting to give it away. I'm starting from
Let
starting
us
from
watch
scratch.
it.
Like
Well,
I
this
don't
is like
know
international
anything. I don't
news.
even know
This is
anything about
international
this
news.
dude.
I didn't
Shut
tell you
up,
anything.
Ed.
I don't even know anything about this dude at all.
Fucking
So I
talk too
like the
much.
idea of it. All right, I'm going to run out and take a piss. Is this where we're going to end? Maybe this is a good.
No,
maybe
me
you
and
just
Heather
cut
gonna
it
sit
right
here
here.
talk
Boom.
shit about you doing a drum solo.
Yeah,
Okay.
go take a piss.
I'm going to go take a piss and come back, but maybe this is where we just
All right.
end. Boom.
No, we're not ending. Go take your
All right,
piss. We'll
Go
come
take
back.
the league.
Yeah, stop. What is he? He has. Is he uplifted? Is he on a platform or
It looks
something
pretty
out
fucking
there?
professional, man. Paul's all fancy.
He had to step down over to the door or something.
I don't know.
Oh man.
He's fancier than me.
So where's Paul's drum solo, man?
I don't know. That's what I was just gonna get into. I think we might have to put together and get we can buy him a little electric drum kit, send it to him, force him to do it. He has all these excuses about the drums being out.
He could
and-
buy a.
I know, but he won't.
electric drum kit. We can take our T-shirt money and buy an electric drum
Yes,
kit.
let's
but
do that. Everybody go buy 5 T-shirts right now so we can afford to buy him an electric drum set. Lolo,
Go buy a mouse.
Tots.
Actually, I just bought a T-shirt for Timo. Sent me a message the other day, and he's like, "Hey man, my boy is jealous of my hoodie." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "My boy wants a hurry up and die hoodie." I was like, "All right, which one does he want?" You know, went through there, ordered the little boy a hoodie. Yeah.
Well, good.
The little kid's gonna go to school.
So let's pull that
hurry
money.
up and die on his hoodie. I'm like, what is that?
So let's take
you're
that.
10.
Let's order Paul an electric drum kit, and then we can finally get him in on this. Because I've heard nothing but excuses. Can't have the drums
Right.
out. Got to put the drums away.
Yeah.
Can't mic the drums.
Well, we'll see what he has to say about that. There's no reason that he can't just put a phone up and record him playing the drums there live. There's no reason. He's just a pussy if he's gonna say that. So too fucking good,
funny.
man.
It's funny. Did he go to take a pee or did he go to take a dump?
I don't know. I think he's feeling it a little bit.
There he is. There he is.
Dude, what's funny is I could hear you guys talking the whole time because I have these ear pods on. So like as I was just in here, like, we got to take the shirt money. We got to buy this drum set. We got to do. I could hear the whole story as you guys were talking.
All right, so let's hear your rebuttal.
What I have to just mic the drums is what you're saying? I could set up like a GoPro camera and just do it like that.
No,
I gotta get the drums. I don't even have the drums set up. Like right now, we got to get the Christmas tree out. How about we get the Christmas tree out?
Man.
See,
Yep, it's gonna have. Listen, it's gonna have to be postponed. It's gonna have to be postponed past Christmas time. But
All right, so how about January 15th?
live update. The Boba Fett Slave 1 ship just got finished. It's out there on the table. I saw as I walked by. So yeah, they finished it
There
up.
you go.
So if
is
anybody
it
wants
flying
to know.
yet?
It's not flying. It's on the table. But when I ran in
It's
there,
finished?
they
You look
pointed it out.
happy.
So.
I see a genuine smile.
You
on
should
your
have got a
face right
picture.
now.
real
It got
quick.
done.
You should
It
have
got
a
done.
picture.
So let's get back to Little Peep to finish this up. I'm watching the documentary, and then we're gonna just talk on that.
Yeah, but, I mean, at least give it a shot, man. It's one of those things. It's it's a tough thing, I'm sure, for you to watch because it is. I don't know. It's the same thing that you talked to me about when you're talking about like the 93 Feet of Smoke guy and stuff like that. It's like these kids are doing stuff out of their homes. This kid started getting popular, and he had a whole crew of dudes that were doing the same thing as him that more or less he kind of needed to leave behind and kind of needed to do his own thing because he was getting too popular. And the dude, he loved partying and doing drugs, which is always makes for an interesting story as far as I'm concerned. And once again, I don't know why I like these people like I said before, I didn't like this guy before I watched the documentary. By the end of the documentary, I had a little playlist of songs of his that I was like, man, I like these songs. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things. I still listen to those songs to this day. Like, I can't get them out of my head. All I can think of when I hear this kid sing is how sad I am for this young kid that was like very, very young, very cool looking. He moved to London for a while and did a bunch of stuff with the fashion scene. He has some photos taken by a bunch of those
Well, don't tell
weird
us too much of
photographers.
it, man. Don't tell us too much of it.
I don't know, man. It's just it goes down a bunch of different roads where try to stay interested in it, and by the end you'll see dead bodies. That's all I'm gonna say.
Have you seen that kid? What's that fucking kid's name? 6ix9ine, the 6ix9ine
Tekashi.
kid,
Yeah.
the Rainbow Kid. What
So
about
the-
him? You
yeah.
see his documentary?
That's what I thought we were gonna watch. That's at first when you said it. When I
No.
pictured that
Dude,
picture,
watch that
of the,
too. That shit was
no, I
fucking
haven't
funny,
watched
man.
that. I haven't watched
I
that.
watched that
So,
shit.
yeah, we'll talk about it next time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that,
think
that would be fun. I mean, if everybody wants to go watch that too and compare them, I think that
All
would be
right.
the perfect thing
We can do
because it's both kind of same scene, but I feel like there's something different with the documentaries. It takes you a different direction, and one, it leaves you with some kind of feeling that there was something good in someone, or something that was inspiring or something that people are going to miss out on with the one person not being around versus this kid that, you know, by the end of it, they're more, you know.
Let us walk.
The options are, their options are, yeah.
Tony, do you know what we
it's
found
all stuff
out?
That's been out for months,
do you know what we
I don't
found?
know. It's all old stuff.
Do we know what we found out at the end of the night? Head cares about people. He loves people.
Yeah,
Do you understand what I'm saying? He's a soft-hearted person deep down inside.
Is a softie. Always has
Do you
been.
understand what I mean? So, like, what he's trying to share right now, do you see what I'm saying, is he feels sorry. You know, you heard him say, I feel sorry. And then what I'm saying is that's awesome. That's empathy for people, dude, and you should be proud that you have that, is what I'm saying. Because that's what's lost in the world, you know.
And
not a lot of people have that.
And are just so proud in some young kids that really don't have a lot, and they look online and they figure out how to do some kind of like oh, let me play some beats and like make some shit up and like sing some stuff, and then like oh, I do have a guitar, I took a couple lessons, I know how to play 5 chords, but I could look up online and know how to like strum along to this good song that I'm.
Or can I say something? Or you mean like a 16-year-old kid, Tony, that has never pierced anything before, and ends up becoming a person where people walk in, Tony, and they ask for him by name.
I'd be like, man, you chose the wrong career path, buddy.
Right?
But what I'm saying at the end of the day, what I'm saying is exactly what you are making. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is why I'm proud of you is because you are one of those people. Do you understand? That's why you see that in these things, is because you are one of those people that takes that cubing, that takes what I'm saying is, and learns to. Do you know what I'm saying? And you know, at the end of the day. You see what I mean? That's why you notice
for
that.
Sure. I think people are amazing. You know, whether it's something that you really want to, you know, say that you're into or not, or attach your coolness to. You know, there are people out there that have come from like, you know, dark places that are not really happy people that are making some cool shit. Whether it's doing, you know, a Rubik's Cube really fast, or playing pianos, or skateboarding.
Sounds like
you
your
know,
brother's
or doing
like,
mumble rap.
Your brother's super proud of you, man. But you know what I think?
Yeah.
I
You're
think,
a pussy,
I think you're
Tony.
a fucking pussy.
But you know what I mean. I just was giving him props, like Tony. What he's trying to explain is what he's trying to is what he. You know what I'm saying? It's exactly who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like it's exactly who he is, and that's what I love about him. You know what I mean?
One
And
of
so
the
that's
nicest guys I know. I think that's why I've
Yeah.
been
Thanks,
so
Paul.
close for so long.
yeah.
And
You know
he
what I
is a
mean?
pussy.
So yeah.
Right. Makes me who I
part of
am.
why I
Fuck
love
you
dude.
both.
Yeah,
I'm a
dog.
pussy. Fuck you.
You are deliberately forgetting who you really are. You are deliberately forgetting who you really are.